Greetings and welcome back to another in-depth mod review for Skyrim. Today I'm going to be talking about the mod Forgotten Magic Redone. In my own personal opinion, hands down the best magic mod out there. Now many of you might know it, some might not, but nonetheless it's useful to talk about this mod and all the great things that it does. Now, some about what I'm going to say is kind of paraphrasing the author, and the author's name I believe is 3GU. But the great thing about this mod is its simplicity and its emphasis on the concept of less is more. Quality over quantity. Many magic mods provide an abundance of spells, an overabundance of spells, with very little individuality to them. Now, one such mod, in my own personal opinion, people will disagree with me, is the Apocalypse spell package. I do not like this mod. I use it because there are certain spells that are okay, but I would say that 80% of the spells I never use, and I don't see a whole lot of variety there. What makes Forgotten Magic Redone unique, and mind you, I'm also of the opinion that this mod is criminally under-endorsed and just unknown by the looks of it, is its simplicity and its stress on role-playing. There are a total of 39 spells that all fall within 7 different schools, for lack of a better word, or categories of spell of magic. And the great thing about this mod is once again, the stress and the emphasis on the role-playing aspects, on the less is more. Because with these spells, you can do so much more than you could with, in my personal opinion, Apocalypse spell package, blah, 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 dozens of different spells that in theory are interesting, but lack that modularity that I like. You can kind of mold these spells as you will. So this is being more about a discussion about what the spells do, rather than just showing off the fancy effects. Now, as far as the Zorna playthrough is concerned, those of you who watched most of it know that she was a specialist in druidic magic, and I took full advantage of that with regards to Forgotten Magic Redone. So we're going to have a look at the MCM menu and look at Forgotten Magic. Now, Forgotten Magic, by the way, is Skyrim Redone compatible. You have to use a compatibility patch. There's one available on that page, so make sure to download if you don't have the mod yet, 3.0. And you can see you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different schools, if you will, categories, and they all fall into different categories. You also have Magic Affinity, and you can see I have one Druid. This makes casting the spells easier, I believe cost less, as well as that makes the spells more potent. And you can really see what this magic mod does for your character, depending on if you're going to play a magic-oriented character. And Zorna has been, or was, kind of an orc druid warrior, someone who did rely strongly on restoration magic, curative spells, as well as anti-undead and nature-based spells. And this mod really was perfect for that in the sense that she did make copious use of druidic magic. So let's have a look at the druid chain of spells, or the different spells offered in the druid school. Healing Touch is, well, if you have Forgotten Magic Redone, one of the best spells out there as far as best healing spells in the game. You have so many different options with it, and I'll get into a lot of them. Like I said, this is going to be in-depth. Healing Touch, for example, gives you options that just wouldn't exist anywhere else in Skyrim. Each spell is limited to 5 different upgrades. Now, you can go into settings, I believe, you see, and change that. Spell level limit. 5, you can change it to, well, whatever you want. You can uncap certain things. And, of course, here I should mention that Forgotten Magic Redone, these are rare, powerful spells. Best to be used on Legendary, I might add. And so you only have a very small percentage, an 8% chance of getting a certain spell. It's luck and chance, but I like that. These are rare, powerful spells. The chances that you find them should be then correspondingly slim. And, of course, you can change that to whatever you like. I prefer to keep it at the basic 8. And as you have jewelry that goes hand in hand, before I go on the druid thing, let me explain this, that goes hand in hand with the spells. Jewelry that upgrades certain spells, depending on what spells you're using. Usually this jewelry will also give you a bonus to health, as well as your total magical pool, in addition to upgrading certain spells. Certain spells will do more damage, will have a greater duration, give you a better summoning effect, and so on and so forth. So this mod is just comprehensive in what it does. You have the jewelry that goes hand in hand with the spells, the rarity, which makes it really just a unique mod to use as far as magic is concerned. You might not get the spells you want. You might in fact get the spells you want. You just don't know. But let's get back to the druid. So there's so many things you can do with this one spell, Healing Touch. Look at the different possibilities, which I've chosen the most basic ones. You have Bloom, which increases the duration. Now, Healing Touch is a spell that goes for a while. So let's have Xorna cast Healing Touch. If I can find it again. It's been a while since I've played Xorna. Here we go. Healing Touch. It is 3. Oh, without the torch. But there you go. Let's get the torch out just so we can see going here. And if you bring up the menu, you can see this is in the corner, the right-hand corner. This is the duration. It's kind of ticking down, and it would, in that duration, if I were injured, it would of course heal me. Now, of course, the great thing about, you can see the light aquamarine outline that Xorna has right now. That's Healing Touch working its wonders, and it's about to wear off, and boom, there you go. Going back to Forgotten Magic Redone, looking at Healing Touch, you have different options. Now, the ironic thing about Xorna is she's spec'd with a Standing Stone for Skyrim Redone, the Lady Stone, which gives you greater health and stamina regeneration, but stunts your magic regeneration. But don't worry about that. With a spell such as Healing Touch, you can compensate. You can be so flexible with this magic. So the upgrade Tranquility of Water will also restore your mana. You know? So this is a fantastic... Let's say you wanted to try out the Atronach Stone, and I'm assuming you're using Skyrim Redone. Well, with Skyrim Redone, the Atronach Stone gives you 150 boost to your magicka, and allows you to absorb 50% of spells, but at the penalty of a 95% slower regeneration rate. Well, maybe there's a solution for that. If you get access to the Healing Touch spell, you can kind of compensate for that. So, and let's say you already have a fast magic regeneration rate, or you're a heavily magic. Xorna has always been, as much a warrior as she was a druidic master of magic. If you're a pure mage or a sorcerer, that might be really helpful as well. And some of the things I didn't choose are spells that go hand in hand with other spells. You see, this is what the author meant by complementary. Many of the effects only take effect if you use other spells, which I don't think I had access to at the time. So, for example, well, there's another upgrade I take: removing poison and disease effects, very useful. Overgrowth. That's another interesting one. Violet infusion. So, what are vile spores? Well, that has something to do with another spell. And you can the Wolfpack. That's another really great one that I've used frequently. You can see summons a pack of 3 mystical wolves, basically. And there we go, losing the torch again. Wrong spell. Now these wolves, poorly positioned, come on, are excellent pets, excellent summons. It's perfect for a druid or a ranger type character. And they really are quite effective. They get different upgrades, and these upgrades stack upon each other within the same spell. So take, for example, the upgrade Maul, causes bleeding damage. And then, assuming it's already bleeding, you take the Taste of Blood, which I did. The Taste of Blood will stack upon, or will rather coincide with Maul, and so you have a synergistic effect resulting from the spell. Maul, Taste of Blood. And then other things, the Strength of the Pack, and so on. There are just so many different possibilities. So yeah, it's quote-unquote only 39 spells with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Each of them has 10 different upgrades. So in a way, it's almost like 390 different spells in a way. So much modularity, so much ability to be flexible in how you want to use these spells. Maybe you like the other upgrades. Maybe you wanted this speed upgrade. Maybe you wanted the Ghost Hounds upgrade. There are just so many of these spells. Now, this is just for the druids out there, or the rangers. Let's say you want to play an evil Necromancer Warlock. Well, this is the perfect mod for you. I've done this before. A spell like Blight Curse, which affects the target with disease, and there are things such as Summon Vitality, which drains its health and gives it to you. Duration, increasing the duration. Corrosion. Desecrate. More disease damage. Lingering Pain. Soul Reaper. And you can see the synergy. So a target dies of Blight Curse, it says, increases, and you can see this. You'll be surrounded by a potent red aura. It increases the caster's spell damage by 10% for 10 minutes. That's significant. It stacks 3 times, so you get a 30% spell damage boost. So these spells potentially are very powerful, which is why I strongly recommend that you use it on a difficulty setting such as Legendary, or in conjunction with a mod such as Deadly Monsters or Dragons. That's where these spells really will come to the fore, where these spells will be of most benefit. If you're playing on something like Adept or Master, then these might really be overpowered. Then you have other spells, such as Void Bolt, very interesting spell. It's interesting effects on the undead and boosts undead. Death Guard, one of the best summonings in the game, summons a sort of a colossal giant skeletal warrior with lots of different abilities you can choose. The Boethius Poison Cloak, you can simply upgrade the armor rating if you want, the damage it does. And the great thing about Death Guard is it stacks with your overall level. So it becomes more powerful as you do, which can't be said for most summoned creatures. You can go for the sort of kinkier things, such as causing disease damage upon death, a target that's afraid, feared, does more damage than Bond of Pain. The Death Guard dies. If you're low on health, the Death Guard will explode and give you health back. Then you have aura spells such as Deathly Pall, right? That increases the effectiveness of other spells such as Blight Curse or Necrosis, which is another almost more potent version of Blight Curse. So you can see if you want to be a Necromancer, go for it. Then there's Cryomancer, summon an Ancient Lich. Some of these spells are fantastic. Ice Lance gives you the possibility, a lot of combinations within the spells of Cold Snap, freeze the target solid, and then follow up with a Shatter. And this chance to instantly kill, it says Ice Lance has a chance to instantly kill frozen targets that have, of course, been frozen by Cold Snap. And it's a pretty high chance. I've had many targets instantly die that way. Very powerful magic indeed. Frost Bomb, Frost Armor. There's too much detail. I mean, as much as this is in depth, there's so much to talk about. And look how this synergizes a spell such as Frost Armor, which is an aura with some of your other spells. Let's say you're summoning Undead, right? So, let's see, I thought there was a spell for this one. In any event, I believe there was one that increased the duration of your... there you go. Frost Armor increases your undead summoning duration by 100% when active. That's really useful. Icy Gale. I mean, the possibilities really are limitless. There are also spells that don't cost that Magicka mana. Glacial Fortress is one of them. It functions as a power. Another one, for example, is the Phoenix Strike, which knocks the target on its ass, basically. And it goes on a cooldown. I think it's a 30-second cooldown, and it's effectively you strike the target from afar. It's actually good for a transport matrix as well, and you basically knock them down. Some fantastic spells such as Salamander Touch. If you're going to become a Pyromancer, I invested a bit in this. You have Lingering Burn, Firebrand, right? Tinder. Imagine that 25% reduction in fire resistance. So don't you hate those Dunmer with their fire resistance? Well, knock it down. They're 50% reduction to 25% with this. And never mind creatures such as vampires that are already susceptible to fire with a spell such as Salamander Touch. And of course it burns the targets. It's a flame aura. Other spells, which I didn't use on Zorna, but if you're using a Pyromancer, these spells, some of these spells, just combustion. These effects stack. So you choose something such as Searing Pain, which ignites the target, then combustion, and you basically reduce the target's fire resistance. And I mean, if you stack, and that stacks with spells such as Salamander Touch, you're talking well over 50% reduction in their fire resistance. So even targets that are highly immune to fire resistant can potentially become targets and potential victims of fire-based spells. You want to play a pure paladin? Well, this mod is for you. It has a host of paladin-like spells. I use Holy Bolt. You see me use Holy Bolt quite a bit. Works very well. And it works synergistically with other spells. Look at this. Faithful Avenger. Assuming you have the spell Holy Bolt, whenever you kill a target with Hammer of Justice, which is a summoned mace basically, it looks a bit like a ghostly ebony mace, it decreases the cooldown of Divine Avenger by 100%, which is normally on a 3-minute cooldown. So that would reduce it, of course, to a significantly, less than 3 minutes, 100% less than that. So that would be 1.5 minutes in total cooldown. Stalwart Protector, more damage using a shield. I mean, there's just so many different possibilities. More damage to Undead, more damage to Daedra and Atronach. Holy Bolt does more damage to Undead overall. You can use it as a healing spell. Divine Light, another very interesting healing spell that is superior to vanilla healing spells with many different effects. And Divine Armor, finally, here. You can see, gives you basically more resistance to damage. It's a paladin's best friend, if you will. Right? And, you have spells, Electromancer, another one. Lots of spells for lightning and so on and so forth. And spells that only work outside. And Mystic is kind of one of those categories that's just, hard to say what exactly it is. It's kind of a hodgepodge of different things, of different kinds of spells. But for example, Arcane Weapon is probably one of the best summoned. It's of course a conjuration spell. You get different varieties. You can choose a greatsword, a dagger, a bow, or a regular sword, depending on how you're play style. And look, some of the possibilities with this spell are just fantastic. Open wounds, target bleeds, bleeding damage for 10 seconds. And the great thing about this, guys, is the bleeding damage actually works in Undead and Atronach. And I think that's intentional. I think it's part of it's an arcane weapon that can overcome supernatural resistance. Normally, bleeding damage doesn't affect Undead, which makes sense. But this is a magical sword or a magical dagger or whatever. Eldritch Power, this is fantastic. You have a chance of increasing your physical damage by 50%. Elemental Overload, Evolving Weapons, stacks for their conjuration level, and so on and so forth. And then you have a lot of spells in this category that just fall into the arena of illusion magic. It's quite useful as well. I mean, there's just so much to cover with this mod. Even an in-depth review as this would be limited in its scope. And I couldn't show you all the spells even if I wanted to. So because of the possibility this mod offers, it is just clearly, in my mind, the best I've tried so many magic mods, the best magic mod out there. So many different possibilities for a character to develop, a character that uses magic. Be you a pure mage, be you a hybrid, be you a spell sword. Maybe you only use a bit of healing magic, but even then, there you have a spell like Divine Light or Healing Touch. So this mod just offers so many possibilities, and it's all up to you. Choosing 5 of the 10 possibilities and how they might synergize with each other or not, up to you. And that's what just makes this mod fantastic. I mean, if you want to use a great spell casting mod, a great magic mod, this is the mod. Why on earth this magic mod has fewer than 1,500 subscribers, endorsements last time I counted, is beyond me. I just think people are missing out. They just go for the big apocalypse. They like more is better. More better. No, not really. Less is more concept here is just, this drives home the truth of that concept. Less is more, because it gives you so much flexibility, so many possibilities within the framework of these 7 schools and 39 different spells that you have at your disposal. And of course, like I said, the mystery is there as well. You know, you have really only a small 8% chance initially, if you don't decide to modify that, of getting certain spells. Fantastic, you know. And as you can see, there are my wolves. It really is up to you. I don't think there's any kind of magic character that would not benefit in some way, shape, or form, whether you're a pure magic user, a hybrid, or whatever, from using this mod. There's something for everything, even if you just dabble in a bit of healing magic. If you're a necromancer, there are frost spells galore. There are fantastic death and disease spells, undead summonings of different sorts. If you're an undead hunter, you might want to use fire magic in conjunction with paladin-based spells. That's there too. If you're a druidic or ranger character, you have the druid chain. If you are a pure mage that wants to specialize in electricity magic, that's there for you as well. I mean, everything is here for the magic user. If you're a magic user, you're going to love this mod. It offers so many different possibilities, and it really allows you to give some thought to how it is you're going to build up your character in terms of the magic. Rather than reach this level, go to the spell vendor, buy it, you have certain spells, and you choose how you want to evolve them. Maybe you like ignition, igniting enemies and combine it with combustion, or maybe you don't like igniting them. Maybe you prefer something else entirely. It's entirely up to you within the framework of this mod. Highly, highly recommended mod. I don't know why there aren't more endorsements. I suspect people are just unaware of it. But this mod just is hands down the best magic mod out there for Skyrim, in my personal opinion. Like I said, I wanted to talk about it in depth, but there's just so much to talk about. The best thing for you to do is download the mod, endorse it, use the magic it has to offer, and like I said, I'd highly recommend using this mod in a legendary with as well as difficulty mods. There you see the progress that went up there, 85%. So each forgot to mention, each spell is then tracked for progress. And once you reach 100%, you can get another upgrade, up to 5 different upgrades, unless you choose to modify 5 and make it 10. It's up to you. But yeah, you can basically, the more you use it, of course, the more points you have in it. If you have, say, 3 points in a spell, you only have 2 more to go. It'll become more and more difficult, or rather, it takes longer. So you have to also choose wisely in the beginning of how you want to upgrade different spells. Why this is not endorsed as much as I think it should be, or even known as much as it should be, is beyond me. But everyone, I strongly recommend that you download this mod. You will not regret it. This is an essential, an absolute essential to any magic using character of whatever sort. Hybrid, pure, minor magic user, doesn't matter. This is a mod that you absolutely need to use, in my personal opinion. So with that said, go and download the mod. I'll be providing a link in the description box, and hit the endorsement button. I think the author deserves a hell of a lot more credit than he's been given, and one of the great injustices of life, I suppose. But anyways, as always, I hope you've benefited from this review, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button in case you haven't. I hate nagging, but that's always appreciated. And until the next time, in my case, until after my operation, hopefully, may the gods watch over you. Bye-bye and take care.